Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, John, I also have mine.
Thank you, John. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to thank President Ruto. Really, for such an engaging dialogue. I think a couple takeaways. One is all roads lead from ABSA, apparently, to Kenya. But really, just exciting to hear of the significant incentives that are being put in place in Kenya to support business. It's an exciting time to invest. I'd like to invite Peter Ndegwa, CEO of Safaricom, to come and give some brief closing remarks, and then we'll have a vote of thanks and bring our program to a close. Thank you, Peter.
Good morning, everyone. Let me try what John asked. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, I was waiting for His Excellency to sit. I don't start speaking before Your Excellency sits here. I might be in trouble. You know, I should say that Safaricom, which I work for, is one of the most successful privatization, where the government still holds 35%. So it's a very good private sector, a public-private partnership. And the reason I'm saying that is I have to behave because His Excellency is my shareholder. Yeah. So, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samuel Ruto, all protocols observed. Distinguished guests, good morning. I'm going to make a few comments, both as a key private sector player in the market of Kenya and also in the region. We've just gone into Ethiopia. A successful business in East Africa, the Safaricom PLC, you'll have heard the President mention a few times, is the largest communication business. We serve about 36 million customers in Kenya, almost basically the whole population. And also the pioneer of M-Pesa, which is the most successful mobile payment platform in the region, and actually I should say globally has set the standards, transacts about $1 billion every day, and actually the international money transfer, which is all the money the diaspora send to the country, is now just about $4.5 billion, of which about half comes from the US. So when the President, who is our Chief Marketing Officer, actually speaks about Kenya being a digital hub, it is actually true, and we have demonstrable local companies that are leading the way in the region. And we've just now gone into Ethiopia, where we are investing about $2.5 billion to start a new operation and also see another success with mobile money. So delighted to be here. It's been quite an engaging forum this morning. Thank you, Excellency, for marketing our country and also all the other speakers who have spoken about and showcased Kenya. The private sector continues to actively contribute to the economy through job creation, technology and infrastructure investment, and community programs. And as we see at Safaricom, it's about not just technology, but using technology to provide solutions that solve societal problems, whether that is in healthcare, you'll have heard, in agriculture with the vouchering program, driving digital inclusion and also financial inclusion across the country. The private sector plays a vital role in accelerating the SDGs, and we are all here this week to talk about the SDGs, which we know are behind, and private sector plays a crucial role in this area, and SDGs are crucial for development. We will be participating in several stakeholder forums this week, where we will look at how best to approach key SDGs targets and follow up with commitments towards achieving them. As Kenya business leaders, we are privileged to have the support of our government, the leadership of His Excellency William Ruto. When I listen to the President always speaking, we say no more. He is our Chief Marketing Officer who has enabled efforts to drive innovation and economic outcomes through a digital superhighway, which you'll have heard him speak about. The digital superhighway has created opportunities in streamlining government services, which has improved outputs and digitization of records. This has been facilitated by private sector investment in technology, some of which were mentioned today, and we are very happy to be involved. And this is broad partnerships between banks, technology companies, private sector players across the board. Our role as private sector has been to support digital transformation by investing in infrastructure, in financial support, and I've heard John speaking, and also in training. So I urge everyone in the room and potential investors in particular from the US to take this opportunity to invest in Kenya and to take cognizance of the digital revolution that is happening. As members of KEPSA, we are ready to support any engagement with the public sector and deepen private sector involvement in steering the economy forward. And very happy to be here, and thank you for your participation. Thank you very much this morning.
But let me also say that I spoke over the weekend with Carol Kariuki, who said she was so sorry she couldn't be here. And as a longtime partner with her, CCA and KEPSA, I just wanted to acknowledge that and acknowledge her work at KEPSA as well. So thank you so much, Your Excellency, for being here, for being a visionary leader, not just of Kenya, but of Africa. And please know that Corporate Council on Africa, that focuses solely and exclusively on building trade, investment, and business with Africa, is always here to support Kenya and your vision.
Hold it there. Thank you very much. I know this is out of protocol, but I just thought of saying just one thing. Peter has spoken very eloquently about what we're doing, and that the government of Kenya is a shareholder in his, and when he mentioned shareholder, I thought about dividends. And he has said that I'm the chief marketing manager. You know, I have to really work hard because Kenyans set very high standards for me. I really have no choice. And good is not good enough. They only believe in excellent. So that's why sometimes, you know, when I'm doing something good, they still push me. Sometimes with a little demonstration here that you're not doing as much as we told you to do. But it just speaks to what we have to do. And as we do that in Kenya, and I have spoken to you broadly about the expanded Pan-African space. And I just thought that in our midst, we have our former Prime Minister, the Honorable Raila Odinga, who is gunning for the chair of the Africa Union Commission, because as a country, I lead the charge on reform of the AU, and there cannot be any better reform than having the correct leadership to drive the African agenda. And so I just thought of introducing Raila Odinga, our former Prime Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and thank you, Flory. With that, we bring our conversation to a close. What a treat to have had these remarks from the President of Kenya, as well as this engaging dialogue with the business leaders.
Especially as Kenya is working towards its economic prosperity journey, it's imperative for us to really harness the power of AI, which I was happy that no one mentioned it before, so that at least I get the opportunity to be the first to talk about it here. But as we think about that, AI is definitely going to have great impact, not just in terms of the technology itself, but thinking about some of the things that you mentioned around agriculture, around health, education as well. And it's something that really we think about as what we call a general purpose technology, which is really the foundation of everything else to be built upon. So it's not about technology itself, but really
to expand the digital footprint around the country. We are currently engaged between the Ministry of ICT, Ministry of Power and Energy to spread the fiber optic footprint around Kenya. And that has its own competitive issues. I know I have my CEO for Safaricom here. Sometimes he's not very happy with me for bringing other characters like Elon Musk and others into the space. But you see, I keep encouraging Peter that competition makes you, keep ahead. And he's been doing pretty well, I must admit. He's really upped his game. And so that element of competition, and that is why even as we have a conversation with Visa, we're also in conversations with MasterCard, and we are in conversation with others, because we want to keep that space competitive. And I just want to confirm here that we're doing 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic around Kenya. We want to connect 10,000 institutions, hospitals, schools, markets, with hotspot and with fiber optic, so that we can expand e-commerce, we can access government services, because shortly we want to run a paperless government.
Thank you for that, Your Excellency. Let's turn to the financial services sector. A question from Mr. Sello Moloko, Group Chairman of Absa Bank.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Sello Moloko from South Africa. Mr. President, maybe I should just share a quick personal message I've just sent to my son, who's based here in New York, who shared with me on Saturday that he wants to move to Kenya to work on a renewable energy project. So I just sent him a text saying that I've just listened to one of the best presentations on an economy by an African head of state, the best ever. And I don't say this lightly, Mr. President. As ABSA, obviously, we are looking to expand our horizons into the continent outside of South Africa. Kenya is proving for us to be a very important part of that expansion into the rest of the continent. Certainly, we've been watching the events unfold in Kenya, and we remain committed, and our commitment is unwavering, because we see Kenya as one of the anchors of our strategy outside of South Africa. But I'm tempted to ask the question, Mr. President, around maybe for you just to give us a flavor of the financial reforms, because obviously as a systemically important institution, that's one of the things that we're looking at. Encouraged by the speech today, has confirmed to me that my son is making the right call, and that we at ABSA are making the right call, but we just need to understand progress that's been made with regards to the financial reforms in the country.
You're so correct. on the space around financial reforms. You just heard me mention about what we are doing around having a predictable tax regime that makes it easy for business to plan at least long term in terms of what is the fiscal space, what are the taxes in place, and we have been continuously reviewing that space. As I told you, we take a lot of feedback. We had a meeting with the American Chamber of Commerce. We've had meetings with different groups. Later this in December, we're going to have another European with EU, a conversation around what they think about our tax regime, so that we can align it with best practice. Let me give you an example. Digital tax has really given us some headache, but finally we decided to align our digital tax with OECD standards. That way we don't offend anybody and we keep the standard above board. We had challenges with VAT returns. I made the decision that once VAT returns are certified, if you are not paid by our revenue authorities within 6 months, you can then net off those returns on your other tax obligations. That way, I make compliance both ways, so that either they pay you on time or they lose their tax because you have to recover from what they are doing. So we are continuously improving that tax space to make sure that we are aligned. Let me also say that the reason why we are expanding space around special economic zones, around export processing zones, is because we want to have a predictable regime in that space that has clear tax incentives that you can think about 10 years, you can plan 20 years as you invest in that space. APSA has been a great partner of the Republic of Kenya with a very big footprint. I'm happy that you are thinking about that space one more time. And if there is anything that we can do specifically for APSA, please let us know. We will be at hand to deal with it. I have my Chief of Staff here, Eden, who is for your information. He's a former employee of APSA. So he knows his way around.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and thank you, Mr. Moloko, particularly for that personal vignette. Let's turn now to Mr. Charles Murito. His Excellency referenced the 30% request of shares from Google previously. Mr. Murito is Director of Sub-Saharan Africa for Google. Do you have a question for the President?
I answered all his questions.
That you did. So, Your Excellency, I think what I may ask is perhaps make a quick comment, especially as Kenya is working towards its economic prosperity journey. It's imperative for us to really harness the power of AI, which I was happy that no one mentioned it before, so that at least I get the opportunity to be the first to talk about it here. But as we think about that, AI is definitely going to have great impact, not just in terms of the technology itself, but thinking about some of the things that you mentioned around agriculture, around health, education as well. And it's something that really we think about as what we call a general purpose technology, which is really the foundation of everything else to be built upon. So it's not about technology itself, but really what it can do to accelerate the economic growth. And as we know, we in Africa definitely need that. So, Your Excellency, as you know, we did sign our joint statement of collaboration earlier this year in DC, and there's been quite a lot of progress in that around the national AI policy, and we commend your government for working closely on that. So my question to you, and really my offer, is that we as Google are working closely with other technology companies as well as other private sector companies are really on standby to offer any support that you and your administration want. And so please reach out to us if we need to help, especially around AI and all the implications that it can have to accelerate the economic growth for Kenya and all the other countries across the continent. Thank you so much, Your Honor. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Charles. And I agree with you that your support in that space around AI has been immense. We have